speak to them differently than you do the people that you're not close with, and you may be able to say things to your family that you would never say to somebody who's not that close to you, because it would just have a devastating effect. And, sometimes we might perceive it as, almost ugly, like the way that brothers and sisters might talk to each other, but they have an understanding with one another. Well, that's how our brotherhood in Christ should be. The way we approach outsiders, though, has to be totally different. Gentle, ease in. Paul could have started that speech in Acts 17 with, y'all ought to be ashamed of yourselves. Look at all this garbage, these idols. You keep worshiping these idols, you got hell to look forward to. You get ready for hell. He could have started it like that, and every word that he said would have been true. But you know what? They wouldn't have asked him to speak again. They wouldn't have told him to go up on, whatever the Areopagus was and keep going. Or if he was already up there, they would have yanked him down and said, all right, you're out of here. And probably never would have listened to anybody else that was in Paul's following either. But he was very tactful, very wise. I see that y'all are some religious people. Said, I'm religious too. He didn't say that, but that's what he said, but I want to tell you about the God that created the whole universe. Tell me about that God, the God that you're worshiping and you don't even realize it. I want to tell you about Him, and it was masterful. That's one of the most brilliant displays of diplomatic tactic and speech that you can find, and we ought to take that example. And it'll go a long way. It's not always easy, but we got to approach people with them in mind, them specifically. What kind of approach would be best for this person? Excellent point. Any other thoughts or comments, questions?
Sibling rivalry and what we're talking about here with Christians, getting along with Christians, it may be one of the most difficult things that we have to do and to try to figure out how to do, because, how many congregations do we know that members have not got along over just simple little things.
Mm-hmm.
And brothers and sisters, and it's just kind of commonplace. So it's a very difficult thing that we have to work on and overcome, and it's very hard to do. So, and maybe one of our biggest downfalls is overcoming things like that.
Yeah. There's no telling how many congregations could speak to the fact of family troubles wrecking the church. And then, that's not even getting into Christians getting along with Christians. But, if a congregation is made up of a large extended family, for instance, which is probably pretty common in this country, in smaller towns especially, smaller areas, brothers and their families, and then you got the cousins and all these, and if they have an issue, if they have a feud or something, then they tear down the church because of the rivalry and whatnot. Or maybe they don't get along, they won't even speak to each other. Well, what does that do to Christian unity? If they won't even speak to each other because of petty family stuff, then that is a blemish on the unity in the congregation, and it's very potentially devastating. I had somewhere I was going to go with that, but it left me. Anything else? It may come back.
We just need more Davids in the church.
Yeah.
Afraid of people.
Mm-hmm. David came in there and he saw a job that needed to be done and he said, I'll do it. Everybody else was scared to death. But he wasn't because of his faith. He had faith in God. He knew that God would deliver him. Now, somebody could take that and get carried away with that and think, I can do, something stupid. Like, I'll jump off this building because I know God will deliver me. Well, got to, don't mean to burst your bubble, but no, He's not going to. Not in the sense of you surviving that fall, but you can't just take it and run with it as something that applies to every situation in life. I'm going to have faith that God will deliver me so I can literally do anything. And He'll save me. Well, you do that enough, you get to the point of putting God to the test, like the devil tried to tempt Jesus to do. He said, I'm not going to put the Lord to the test. But having faith in God, God's promises, what He has said, that's a different thing entirely. David had experienced his deliverance in the past, like he told Saul further down. So he says, I know that He'll deliver me from this just like He delivered me from that. All right then. Next week we'll get to see the rest of the story, Lord willing. Thank you for your attention and comments. Good discussion.